This is section 8.2, applications of Venn diagrams and contingency tables. So I'm going to do some shading here and then some erasing. So if you're taking notes, you may want to have like a pencil to kind of shade a little bit, or just wait till I'm done with it and then do the overall shading. Okay. So you see this little tick mark up here. That's called the complement. That means not A. All right. And then if it's just a straight letter, just like F, okay. And I'm going to show you, oops, those. All right. So not A is going to be everything outside of A. So if you look at the circle A, you're going to shade everything outside of A. That is not A. All of F is not A. Okay. So A is your house. We want everything that is not in your house. So that's F, your neighbor's house, even though they overlap in your yard. All right. So this is an example of not A. This is not A. Okay. So I'm going to erase all that. Now we're going to find F. So just F, even though it's overlapping in A some, this is all of F. Okay, let's just say F is people taking Math 114. And then A are students that are taking English. I don't know what say 101. I don't know what the course codes are for English. Okay. This overlap in the middle are the students that are taking English and math. Okay, so if we just want F, just the math students, that's going to include some of the students that are also taking English. This has nothing to do with the problem. I'm just explaining to you what some of these are. All right, so you're going to have two. This is an intersection. And if you think about streets, an intersection is where two streets overlap. Okay, this is an intersection here. It's an intersection of A and F. Okay. The other one you'll have looks like a U. It's called a union. All right, so when people join in union, two people, they join all their stuff together. Okay, so it's going to be both. So an example here would be if we had the union of F and A, it's all of F and all of A. So when people go into a union, we have this middle part here. So maybe we have two couches, two sets of pots and pans. There's an overlap. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Okay, it would be everything for A and everything for F. So that's some of the notation you're going to see. All right, I'm going to erase that, but I would make sure you keep that somewhere. And remember, we are on a video, so you can actually go back, rewind, whatever you want to do. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we have an intersection. So we're looking for an overlap. Okay. It's only where they overlap. So when you're doing the homework, I'm going to suggest you just sketch out a little diagram and do your shading. So we are looking for an overlap. So the first thing we have is not A. Anything that is not A. And we did this a while ago. So we're going to shade everything outside of A. We're going to pretend I can shade. I don't draw very well, and I'm not going to shade very well, but I will do my best. And I'm going to show you how to do this in my math lab too. It's fairly straightforward. Okay. So we are looking for overlap. We want to know we're not A overlaps with F. Where does not A overlap with F? Right here. Just this little piece. Like, I don't know if that's a crescent moon. There's different phases. I liked science, but whatever type of moon that would be. I think crescent moon is like get that little sliver. There's no sunlight. All right, so that is the part that you're actually going to shade in my math lab. So I am going to flip over here real quick and we're going to look at the shading. It's actually fairly simple to shade in here. As far as using the tools, again, I would highly suggest you work it out. All right, that's a union. All right, so let's look at this. All right, and make it just a tad bit bigger. And get my annotation tools. All right, so we have not A. Okay, so that's everything here. And this is an intersection. It's where not A overlaps with F, which I believe is what we just did. Let me see if there's a color. All right. Where it overlaps with F. All right, so it's just that little fake crescent thing I said before. Clear drawings. Get this off of here. So it's going to be the region NF, but outside A. So it's going to be this little sliver that we had. The region within U, but outside F and A. Nope. The region in both F and A is not going to include the overlap. The region in A, no, but outside F. Nope, I did that wrong. Let's just get to the shading. A and B. The region within U, but outside F and A. Okay. All right. This thing to move. All right, so not A, so everything outside A, and where it intersects with F. So you hit the little paint can, you click here, you click save, and then you check your answer. Okay, so let's look at this one. So not F, so that's everything outside of F, and it's an intersection, so we also have G, so they overlap is the same. They won't all be exactly the same. Paint can, just this little area, save, check answer, next question. All right. So I don't know if this is the right answer, but if you need to shade multiple regions, like here, it's only clicking U outside of B and D. All right, this, you would have to click the can again and click it a second time if you need to shade more than one region. Click it again, I want to shade here, click it again if I want to shade there. You can hit clear, you can start over, but each time, it doesn't matter what order you shade a region, you have to click the paint can again. Okay. Again, that's not the answer. Where are we at? There we go. All right. So this is a U, it's a union. So we want both. It's not just the overlap, it's both. So we want A. Okay, so A is inside the circle here. It's a union. Both parties are bringing all their stuff. And then we want not G, because we have a little tick mark, so everything outside of G, which includes that part of A. So that's all of this. All of the shadings included because it is a union. So I'm going to clear the shading and show you what the answer would be. Okay, all of A and outside of G. All right. So again, with a union, you want both of the shaded areas. It's not just an overlap. It's everything that's been shaded. Okay. So union. Okay. So union means both or all shading for shaded areas. Okay. So not N and not M. So outside of N, and then outside of M, which would be, there we go. All right. We went all outside of N, all outside of M. So the only thing that would not be shaded is that little sliver in the middle. Okay, so we want olive shading. So I'm going to go back. So we ended up shading everything except for that little sliver there. So when you use the paint can, you're going to have to use the paint can 3 times for the sides and the circles, and then the side in the area outside. That's called U. U's called the universe. It includes everything, whatever this universe is. Universe could be the school, at Bossier Parish Community College. M could be the students enrolled in finite math. N could be the students enrolled in the first English. Okay. But that's how you would shade on there. Oh, look, they're just trying to mess us up. We're getting complicated. All right, so if you remember for order operations, we're going to work inside out. Okay. All right, so inside out, just like order of operations. This is an intersection. So that is where we have an overlap. So for now, we're not worried about this out here. We're just looking at this as the first thing. Okay. So we have A. And then we're going to do not B. So that's everything outside of B. Let's do green. Oops, sorry about that. So where is the overlap? The overlap is the solution to what's inside. We have an overlap here on our crescent of A. Okay. So I'm going to shade that in. It's going to be from the first one. All right, so that is this right here. Okay, so we worked inside first. Again, like I said, I would draw out the Venn diagram. Just, it doesn't have to be pretty, and then work on it as far as your answers. All right. So we have that taken care of. This shading's done. What we have is a union. A union is both or all shaded areas. All right, so we already have this second part shaded. That's done. Now we need to do the shading for B, and it's going to be all. So let's do all of B. Okay. So that's going to be where you're going to shade. You're actually going to use the paint can 3 times. You'll have to click here, select the paint can, click here, select the paint can, click here. You do inside first with that shading, this blue shading, and then outside we had a union, which was all the shading that we have. So it's going to be both, all 3 of those little sections you're going to have to paint in. All right, let's look at this. And in 2021, among the top 100 grossing movies in a particular country, 9 were rated PG-13. So I'm going to write this out. Or 9. This is 100 total. And earned PG-13 and earned 100 million or over 100 million. Okay. The number of movies that were rated PG-13 that earned less than 100 million were 31. PG-13 not 100 million were, that's 31. It says less than, I just say earned 100 million or not earned 100 million. The number of movies that were not PG-13 and earned less than 100 million, so not 100 million, were was 42. We need to find the numbers that were not PG-13 and earned over 100 million. Okay, so I took everything, I wrote it down, whatever makes sense to you as far as the notation. Okay, if you go through view the example, they're going to have that crazy stuff where it's, I don't know, A and B or E and F. It gets a little complicated. I actually like to write the words out myself. Okay, again, get you a blank Venn diagram, sketch one out. So this is going to be movies that were rated PG-13. And the circle on the right, the ones that earned over 100 million. Okay, so the ones that were PG-13 and earned over 100 million. Okay, and both together overlap is right here. So this is PG-13 and over 100 million. Oops. So this area here, I'm just going to shade it just for, you know what I'm looking at. Okay, so this crescent on the right, I know that's the wrong terminology. All right, so these are movies that were not PG-13, but they earned over 100 million. All right, I'm not even worried about the numbers yet. The crescent on the left, this area here, the movies were PG-13, but they did not earn 100 million. So they were PG-13, but they were not over 100 million. Okay, so we have the 9 in the middle. Not PG-13 and over 100 million. All right, not PG-13 and over 100 million. This is what we're looking for. Okay. The crescent on the left is PG-13 and not over 100 million. That's 31. Okay. So where does the 42 go? Okay, the 42 is everything that's not PG-13 and not 100 million. Okay, so that's outside. That would be, let me do a little shading that we don't really need. That's everything out here. So these are the movies that were R, rated G, whatever the 17 rating is. That tells you how long it's been since I've seen a movie. And movies that did not earn 100 million. Okay. All right, so how do we find X? Mm. All right, so there were 100 total. We subtract the 42. We subtract the 31. And we subtract the 9 because this whole box here is 100 total. Okay, 100 total movies. So if we take 100, we subtract the 42, we subtract the 31 and the 9, what we're left with is the X. Okay, the hardest part is setting up the Venn diagram. Let me run this in the calculator real quick. So that's 18. I really like these questions. I think they're fun. All right. Let's go on to see if there's a next one. Oh, fun. Let's see, the Human Resources Director for a commercial real estate company received the following number of applicants from people with the information given to the right. Use a Venn diagram to answer parts A through D. Okay. So let's see what we're dealing with. Sales experience, college degree, and real estate license. Okay. So this is going to be a 3 circle diagram. And actually, let me get I don't have my print copy of this. So I'm going to take a picture real quick. All right. So let's go down to this Venn diagram. I just stole this off the internet. So we have sales experience. I'll just put sales. This circle, college degree. Just put college and real estate license, and I'll put license. Now, when you fill out yours, if you need to put more words in there, whatever works for you. Okay, so we have the 3 circles. So I'm going to start with the overlaps. Okay, so 45 sales experience and a college degree. Oh, let's start in the very middle. Which one had all 3? Sales experience, college degree, and a real estate license. So that will be 25 people. What we're actually doing here is we're working inside out. So we have an overlap of all 3. And then we're going to go to the overlaps of 2s. Okay. So we had 45 that had sales experience and a college degree. That also includes this 25. So 45 minus 25 gives me 20. Okay. Then overlap where there's a sales and a license. So sales experience and a real estate license was 33. That includes these 25. All right. I believe that's 8, but I don't trust my subtraction. Yep. 8. Okay. So there were 8 that only had sales experience and a real estate license, but there were 33 that had sales experience, a license, and a college degree. Okay. But technically the 33 did have sales experience and a license. They just didn't include the college degree in there. All right, so now we need the overlap of college degree. Your real estate license was 28 minus the 25 that also had sales experience. So that's 3 for this circle. I'm going to highlight these. All right, they haven't even asked me any questions yet. I'm just filling out the information. All right. So let's go to the top. There are 81 in the sales circle. Okay. So that means we need to subtract 8 the 25, and the 20. So 81. So that's 28 in this circle. Again, I'm going to highlight that just so it stands out for myself. All right, the ones that had a license, real estate license was 38. So we're just looking inside the license circle. Okay, so 8, 25, and 3 is what we need to subtract. We need to subtract out those overlaps. It gives me 2. And again, I'm going to highlight that. Sorry about that. And then our last one is college. The college circle is 65. And we have to subtract out these overlaps. And I'm just using a small handheld calculator for this. 17. 3. Okay, so there's 17 in this circle. I think there was one more piece of information. And it says 19 with no sales experience, college degree, or real estate license. Okay, so that was the very last one. That is this here. Okay, 19, none of the 3. Alrighty, all this information. So now I'm going to answer the questions. All right, so don't get overly concerned about the questions. Get the diagram set up and then go through the question. How many applicants were there? Oh, I don't know. Well, shoot, let's look at that. So all the numbers that are highlighted, add those up. Okay. One 122. And I'm going to add that up just one more time, just to be sure, because it's quite a few numbers. I am notorious for putting the wrong numbers in because I go too fast. So just take your time. All right, so it's 122. I just counted up all the highlighted numbers. This diagram represents 122 people. How many applicants did not have sales experience? Okay, so that would be the complement of sales, no sales experience. So I'm going to use, actually, let's get a green. I didn't want it that thick. All right, so sales experience, how many did not have sales experience? I don't know how this is going to work out when I try to erase it. All right, so not sales, outside of sales. What numbers are outside of sales? The 19, the 2, the 3, and the 17. Okay, so 41, everything outside of sales did not have sales experience. Okay, so I got, again, just a little handheld calculator. Not sales was 41. I'm going to go ahead and put the numbers just in case you need those reference. This was 19. just in case you need those numbers for reference. How many had sales experience and a college degree, but no real estate license? Had sales experience, that sales right here, and a college degree, but no real estate license. So sales experience, let me read that again, college degree, but no license. So this is right here. Sales experience and a college degree, but no license. Let me double check that. Had sales experience, but no real estate license. Okay, so it's the overlap of sales and college. We're not including the middle because that includes an overlap of the license. So that's 20. SD. Okay. How many only had a real estate license? Only had a real estate license. That means they did not have a college degree, nor did they have any sales experience. So only a license, but no college degree and no sales experience. So it's just 2 that fit into that. Only had a real estate license. Again, work inside out, filling out the information, and review this if you need it again. All right, this is a contingency table that lists the tabulation of the number of business partnerships in an industry. All right, so let's go through. So we have net income, net loss, construction management, wholesale, trade, and retail sales. Okay, find the number of partnerships. Okay, so we need to answer these questions. What I need here is I'm going to need totals going across and going down. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Let's go down. Great. Change my color. All right, so we're adding across. Right across here. And I'm not showing you a calculator on these because it's basic calculations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Unless it's something special, I'm not going to display a calculator to add and subtract numbers. Rows. And then I'm going to add down as well. Okay, and that's going to take me a second or a few. I would suggest you either slow down or add these numbers twice. That way, when you go to answer the questions, you don't get it wrong because you didn't just add things correctly. So this row on the right, I'm going to add this down, and then I'm going to add this across. We should get the same numbers, but we will see. I added down 4, 6, 7, 2, 8, 8. So I'm not going to add these two on the bottom here, the 229 and the 237. I'm going to add those together. They should come up to the same number. This will be a good way to check. Okay, I got 467, 288. So when you add down on the column on the very right and add across on the very bottom, you should get this number for both of them. And that's just a way to check. That would be the total number of partnerships in this survey, in this data, whatever the survey or whatever it came from. Okay. All right. So find the number of participants in A union R. So this is a union. So that's going to be both in A and R. So we need to add A and R together. A down is 229,842, and R is going to be, all right, there's going to be, so this is A, we're adding down, sorry. And then we also want R. What's the problem here? Does anybody see it? We have an overlap at 87,654. We don't want to count that twice. So I'm going to write it out down here of how we're going to figure out this number. Okay. All right, so A, column A is 229,842 plus R, which goes across, which is 168. Actually, let me put this going down just for the sake of space. We're going to add A and R, but we need to subtract out where they overlap, and that's at the 87,654. So that is retail trade and have a net income. There's an overlap there. So let's put these in the calculator. Again, just take your time or do it twice. 310,742. That's your answer. Find the number of partnerships, W union C. So that's going to be both. And let's go back up and look at W and C. All right, so if I highlight C and W, C and W, there is no overlap. So there's nothing for us to subtract out. So I'm going to go down here and write out these numbers. So we want W and C. W was 84813 plus C for 1889. And there was no overlap of W and C in the chart, so we have nothing to subtract out. So 226,702. All right, C is M intersect B. So we're looking for the overlap of M and B, keyword being overlap. Let's use the highlighter. We have M and B. So our overlap is at the 44,112. Okay. The overlap is the 44,112. Find the number of partnerships in M complement. So we want to find not M. So we can take the total and then subtract M. So our total is here. Oops. I don't know why it catches like that. And then M, the total for M is here. So we're going to take the total and then subtract M because that would be everything but M. Okay, so not M. Get my numbers back up. Minus M, which was 72032. Put that into the calculator. All right, so that is going to be 395,256. And that is it for section 8.2.